Next speaker is Professor Bob, and the title from Center of Quantum Computing, University of Oxford. He is joining online, and the title of the talk is From Quantum in Picture to Interpretable and Scalable Quantum AI. So it's a talk on quantum AI, which is going to be interesting area. Quantum AI has a lot of application these days in especially finance and solving many other problems. So I think his talk will be really interesting. I invite Professor Bob to start the talk. Thank you very much. Hi. Can you hear me, Bob?
My fourth, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, you can start. So your slides are visible.
Is my voice clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what I understand that the audience is familiar with quantum. So what I'm going to try to mostly provide in the start is an easy way into quantum, which we have been working on for a very long time, and which is now being laid out in many countries across the world to make quantum inclusive, introduce it to people without the necessary sophisticated mathematics background and all of that. And it's also a way of thinking about quantum which is much more like networking or something like that. So you should, it should be an easy way to get familiar with. I know they have started to use this way to teach quantum now in several high school programs across the world in several countries. Okay, so let me see. It's a very long, I haven't used. Okay, do I like this? View, I'm going to full screen. Enter full screen. Everything is visible now. Yeah. Everything is visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Bob. I was for a very long time professor at Oxford University, through Wilson College. I'm the head scientist of Quantinuum, and I'm also a distinguished chair at the Perimeter Institute. So I'm going to start with this, what I call a prologue, that is about how to do quantum differently than people usually do this. This is von Neumann, you obviously know, the father of the modern computer architecture, and game theory. What you may not know is that he's also the father of the quantum mechanical formalism. So he basically designed, some people say quantum mechanics started in 1925, because now it's the year of quantum, as it is 100 years ago that Heisenberg and some others came up with the matrix formalism. But the Hilbert space formalism, as we know it today, is due to von Neumann, and he published this in a book in 1932. However, in 1935 he wrote, I would like to make a confession which may seem immoral. I do not believe absolutely in Hilbert space no more. So he basically denounced the formalism of quantum mechanics, which he came up with himself. And for a good portion of the remainder of his life, he tried to fix that by coming up with alternative formalisms. None of them is now used, so to some extent they were failures, but many of them basically meant that he came up with a new field of mathematics. So there was many new fields of mathematics which he came up with across the road. Now, let's go here. This is Erwin Schrödinger, who you may know from his cat or from his equation. So, of course, big name in quantum, but something that, again, Schrödinger is not that known of, is the following statement. So Schrödinger, of course, is one of the fathers of quantum mechanics. He came up with what was called the wave equation and the wave formalism. But he said that the most important thing about quantum mechanics is what happens if you compose two systems. And of course, composition of system is more aligned with the kind of thinking of your community. So he said when two systems enter into temporary physical interaction, which really means you bring two systems together, he called what would then happen not one but rather the characteristic trait of quantum mechanics. So he was basically saying the most important new thing of quantum mechanics as compared to other classical theories is what happens if you bring two systems together. This is in contradiction with what, well, not contradiction, but it's a completely different view from what most people have thought, that the most important thing about quantum mechanics is observation. What happens if you observe systems? That we get like non-determinism and things like that. So that was Schrödinger's idea. Anyway, so following Schrödinger's idea, after a lot of work, 15 years of work on my part, we came up with a new quantum formalism, just as desired by von Neumann, in an alternative quantum formalism, and which is essentially based on the notion of composition of systems. So this was in this book. This book is from 2017, Picturing Quantum Processes. This is now the course of quantum computing at Oxford University Computer Science since I started it in 2012. I'm not doing it anymore. My co-author Alex Kissinger has taken this over, and this course is now also given in many places in the world. But this course lays out quantum mechanics entirely into a language which I will try to explain to you, of course, in this talk, and which is about composition, but at the same time it's entirely diagrammatic. So very easy to understand for people who don't have the mathematical background, or people who like to see things in terms of more like systems, diagrams, wires, networks, flowcharts if you want. So but it's rigorous mathematics, I should say that. Now, this was a book of 2017. In 2023, we brought a new book out. So why did we do that? I mean, if you read the back flap of the book, hello there, want to learn from quantum, maybe you think you don't know enough maths. Well, that's not a problem. The picture in this book are a new kind of math that will teach you all about the quantum world. And we really go to essential things like teleportation and locality, difficult concepts in this book. Now, so what is the difference between this book and this book? Well, this book basically gives a full-blown course in quantum mechanics, including Hilbert space. We derive Hilbert space from the pictorial representation, which I will explain later. So it has a lot. It has also matrices and all of that in there. So if you really want to work with this thing as an engineer, as a professional practicing engineer, then this probably is your book. But as an introduction, you can use this one. Now, we did an experiment with this book, and I want to spend some time on that because that's very important. And I know there's a big interest, for example, from India and Indian institutions or globally in using this new way to teach quantum. Okay, so basically we did this experiment, and I assume Guardian is a newspaper which is well read in India, because it's like probably the most online English language newspaper. And I mean, what you see here is like a statement I made. It's easier to convince kids than adults about quantum mechanics. And that's because we showed this in an experiment, which I will now explain. So this is the Guardian, I think, from, you see, December 2023. Okay, what was the experiment? We did a couple of lectures about the book, which completely covered the entire book. These were essentially 8 lectures. Remember the number 8 because that's important to remember for something I will explain later. So this is an example of one of the lectures we gave. Then we devised exercises. We made exercises, and we gave which you could give to people, and then we provided solutions to exercise. Here you see myself like record the solution of one of the exercises. So essentially, what did we do? We built the course. We built the course around this book. So we had the book as a textbook. We had lectures. We had corresponding exercises. Then we sent out a flyer to schools in the UK, basically saying, okay, if you want to get a free course on quantum mechanics, an 8-week free course on quantum mechanics over the summer when there is no school. So this was a flyer we sent out. We got 1,000 candidates to take the course. We could only handle about 60, 70. So we randomly selected 60, 70 participants. The reason this was in the UK is for legal reasons, because since we were working with minors below the age of 18, it gets very complicated otherwise if you go outside. But I mean, at the moment, I'll tell you, this experiment is being repeated all over the world. But from us, from the UK, we can really only do it in the UK, or we need help from somebody from the outside. Because regulations in every country are different. That's just a fact. Anyway, so we got our 70 students from high school between 15 and 18 years old. And we start to give them the course. And we promise them that if they take the course to the end, they get a certificate. So we had the lectures, which we told them to watch the videos. We gave them exercises every week, which we told them to try to solve, and then we gave them video solutions. And they had 1 hour a week with a tutor online. So in groups of 10 people, with one tutor online, 1 hour a week, in which they could ask questions. Now, why this particular structure of 8 weeks? This is exactly the structure of a Oxford University postgraduate course. All postgraduate courses in the university follow this structure. We got the lecture. Sometimes it's like 2 hours a week, sometimes 3 hours. Our videos were actually shorter. They were typically half an hour to an hour. They had the exercise, which you typically get also in an Oxford University course. And then you have 1 hour of tutoring with an assistant. Typically the lectures, of course, are given by professors. In this case, they were video recorded. Anyway, so we gave the lectures of 8 weeks. At the end of the lectures, we asked the students to try to solve an exam. We said, this has nothing to do with your reward. You will get a certificate anyway, independent on how good or bad we do on the exam. But we gave them an exam at the end and we said, please try. Please just try to do it. So now what they didn't know is that this was actually an Oxford postgraduate exam. So this exam entirely consists of questions that had been asked at Oxford University in postgraduate quantum exams. So, I remind you, these students were all high school students. And they didn't have any prior knowledge of quantum mechanics typically. So this was basically all an entirely new thing. And the questions were at Oxford postgraduate level. Of course, they were translated, these questions were translated to the language of this book. But they were the same questions as you typically get at an Oxford postgraduate exam. So they didn't use the, and this is the result. Almost 50% of the students got distinction. And about 80% passed, of those who finished the course. So this is higher, this is much higher than your typical results you get actually for the Oxford University postgraduate students. So what we proved here is that there is this new language of quantum, which makes it much easier to get into the field, and which still gets to very sophisticated, which pretty much covers everything in quantum theory, including very sophisticated subjects such as quantum non-locality. So this is so we have this new language. Now it's 2025, so it's already 22 years ago, more or less, since, depending where you consider the starting point, it's maybe 22 years ago since I started doing this. If you count in another way, it's more than 25. But anyway, so this is a very positive thing. Here are some statistics about our experiment. So we asked, of course, how many prior knowledge you have of quantum mechanics. Most students had nothing. They had nothing. So that's very clear. We asked them how much time you spend on the course per week. Remember, it was 8 weeks. And the majority between 1 and 4 hours, which is not a lot, which is very little actually. They spent on this week during the 8 hours. If you go to the bottom right, you see a statistic, and this is about the different schools. So you got, of course, different kinds of schools in the UK, the state schools and private board and fancy schools. The results really didn't make a difference for what school you came from. They were all about 60%, all of them. What is interesting is how narrow the band of the state schools is. So, because we had a random selection, so good and not so good students, and clearly they all did almost the same. They almost equally good, which is quite remarkable, in fact. Well, the most important item I think on this page is top right. Impact. So we have a questionnaire after the course, and we asked the students, what is the impact of the course on you? And so the majority said that the course strengthened their motivation and confidence, and the course motivated them to pursue a STEM career. So these are very, very interesting results. And even the most important one, which is not on the slide, is we asked the students like an open question, what do you really think about the course? And the general answer, the most common answer was not it was interesting, the most common answer was it was fun. It was fun. Which is really important. If you want to convince a broad group of people to do something, there will always be a small fraction who will find it very interesting, but not necessarily everybody, when you're dealing with high school students. But when you get a majority who says it's fun, then there is a chance to actually broaden the interest of a subject to a much wider group of students, and that's the result we got here. Okay, so I should tell some. So meanwhile, for example, in Greece, this is being taught in high school, and this is governmentally approved. There is translation now available in Greek shops of the book. We have been teaching this course in Ghana and many other countries in the world. This experiment is being repeated in South Africa and several other countries. In Colorado, they're going to start using this at high school levels, and the experiment is going to be repeated in a much more larger size. And lots of things are going on around the world with this particular project. I mean, it would be nice to have like an initiative somewhere in probably more than one place in East India too. We're very happy to share all the resources of the experiment if somebody wants to run it again or anywhere in the world. So we've got many places where it's now being rerun, where people starting to gradually use this material in teaching in high school of quantum mechanics. So let me give some idea now on what exactly it is we did. So it looks very silly because we try to make it as appealing as possible to people who are not necessarily attracted by something like symbolic mathematics, which is the majority of humans on Earth, by the way. So this is our main mathematical object in our language, and it's what we call a spider. So you got this dot here with a few wires coming in and a few wires coming out. Just think of it as a network. So this knot is some sort of processor if you want, and the wires coming in and wires coming out are effectively like whatever, data wires coming in and data wires coming out, if you want. Think of it like that. You typically read them from the bottom to the top, but it's not that important. It's just going to be important in one example. For now, it doesn't matter yet. Now there are some rules about, so this is a piece of a network, or a logic gate if you want. This is a piece of a network, some kind of logic gate, with a number of inputs and a number of outputs. And this number of inputs and number of outputs can vary. Now, one rule about this particular logic gate is if you connect two together, it's the same as having a single one. It's the same as having a single one, nothing else. So they can, it's as if they fuse together, right? You have to, of course, count the number of wires, and the total of number of wires, loose wires need to remain the same. Now there happen to be two, in this language there happen to be two kinds of gates or network components or whatever you want to call them. And if for the first kind, like it's as if they fuse together. For the second kind, it's a bit different. If you have these two network components, which you call green and red, and they're connected by exactly two wires, then these two wires can be just forgotten about. You can remove them. Now this also means if you get 4 wires, you can remove them 2, you do the first 2 and then the other 2. So when you've got an even pair of wires between them, you can remove them. Now, this may look, so these are 2 rules which we have. This may look very silly, but this allows you, these 2 simple rules, to get pretty far in quantum mechanics. which may sound really crazy, but actually it is. So here is an example. This is quantum circuit, or if you want, the quantum program. Now, in this particular case of this example, you can think of this as a classical program. So the things you see here are basically 3 qubits or 3 bits, because this particular program can be applied to bits too. So the yellow lines represent 3 bits. These things represent gates that you apply to the bits. So you have gates which you each time apply to the 2 bits or qubits if you want. Yeah? These happen to be CNOT gates. These are CNOT gates in fact. You can prove if you interpret the spiders in the usual language of quantum, in Hilbert spaces, we matrices and stuff like that, that these exactly correspond to CNOT gates, where the green dot is the control. So that's the control of the CNOT gate. So basically we've got 3 CNOT gates here. So we got a network with 3 bits or qubits and 3 CNOT gates. Okay, we want to simplify this. Now if you look at this as basically 3 CNOT gates, you wouldn't know what to do in the usual thing. Now if you think of these CNOT gates as built up of spiders, there's something very obvious you can do. I remind you of the rules. Same colors fused together, different colors if there's 2 wires between, they vanish. Usually when I give a talk, like then I let the audience participate. Now it's a bit difficult because it's online. Anyway, what do you do? Okay, there's 2 red dots and 3 green dots which are connected. So according to the rules, they just fuse. Now you see 2 wires between the red and the green, so they vanish. And then there's another rule which I didn't say. If you go dot with two wires, a spider with 2 wires, this is actually just a plain wire. So we simplified this program from 3 to 1 CNOT gate. This is a very simple example, and this is even like an example which is not really quantum even, it's classical. But this technique, which I just showed you, constitutes the state of the art of simplifying quantum circuit. It is used by in all the quantum compilers, for example, the ones by ourselves, Quantinuum. These techniques are used by IBM, by Google, by everybody in the quantum world. This same technique, using these spiders to simplify things. So this is not just an educational tool, this is also an engineering tool which is used by all the big quantum computing companies. No, the small ones too, of course. I shouldn't say only the big. Now, one of the more sophisticated and complicated, mathematically complicated things in quantum mechanics is quantum measurement. What happens when you observe a quantum system? And again, it is very easy to express this in this language. Now we have to do a slight change of notation. We're going to now think of quantum wires as doubled wires. We just route them 2 times. And a classical ordinary wire by a single one. And then a measuring an observable or a quantity will be represented by such a spider where you get 2 going in and 1 coming out. The opposite, like 1 coming in, 2 coming out, is basically like taking a classical bit and encoding it as a quantum bit. So that's how simple it is. Now we can start proving things. If you encode a bit as a quantum bit and then you measure it, what do we get? Well, these things just fuse together, you get 1 input, 1 output, so that's just a plain wire. The same as doing nothing. So if you encode and you measure in the same color, it's like doing nothing. If you encode and you measure in different color, the red one, okay, 2 wires in between, so they vanish. Now, the fact that there is no connection between what comes in and goes out basically means that there is no data going from the input to the output. So what you actually get at the end is just randomness. So you see, with these simple rules, we can now already start reasoning about measurement. And here, this is the last example I'm going to give of the calculus, which is quite sophisticated.
Hello, Bob,
So
I think you have only
yes.
few minutes, 5 minutes to conclude.
Yes, yeah, perfect. So we got here 2 wires coming in, 2 wires coming out to the green dot, and a single wire, which means we are measuring the quantum system. We get something, quantum system out, and some classical data. We first measure it in green, then in red, and then in green. Now, classically, you would expect that 2 green measurements give you the same result. obviously, because it's the same measurement. Quantum leap is not true. You see, there's no connection between the two green dots. The outcomes are completely unrelated, and it's because there's a measurement in the middle which is disturbed. Okay, so this is a tool, like I said, used now in very sophisticated quantum engineering. Now, okay, I was just talking about quantum language now. I should say all the resources will soon be made available this month online. If you want to repeat the experiment, you can contact me. Let me just go very quick now, because I only got a few minutes left. Now, one, of course, of the big areas of interest now is AI, and this language itself, let me just go forward. I can't give too many details because we're running out of steam. This language itself has lent itself to a new approach to AI, which is both interpretable and scalable, quantum enabled. So I can't give many details about that because I'm running to the end of my talk. I decided yesterday to really focus on this quantum language because quantum is coming as a new technology very fast. It's important and most people get into it. So that we got like a new tool, which in linguistics, which is called text circuits. And these are basically circuits which look like this, which look a little bit like the circuits you saw before. And we show that you can translate all text in any language to this kind of circuits. And they naturally allow themselves, and they're naturally quantum circuits. So they naturally allow themselves to be put on a quantum computer. And we got some results. I'm just going to say, you have to look to the papers if you're really interested and you want to read them because of lack of time. So let me go to the most relevant. We show that if you use these circuits and you do like quantum text processing, that you potentially get exponential advantage over doing compositional text processing on classical hardware. And we've demonstrated experimentally that it is scalable and that actually you get some sort of a generalization which you don't even get in classical AI. So maybe this talk, the details are for a next talk, but I just want to say that, and this is all only possible due to the language of pictures which I was just showing you. I mean, I'll end with this one and I'll end with a slide showing that we made all these things soon available online, all the resources of this experiment, and if you're interested, like doing something with that at your university or in your country or whatever, let us know. I've got a team of people who support these endeavors in different countries to try to help quantum more inclusive, be it to teenagers, be it to people without a mathematics background, it doesn't matter, or people from different sciences, even humanities, so we can help you with that. Anyway, thank you, I'll stop here.
Thank you very much. So let's thank the speaker. So I'll open the floor for a few questions, quick questions. I think there are any questions from the speakers, from the audience. Any question? Okay, so I think since we are running out of time also, so no problem. So thanks Bob again. Thanks once again for giving this wonderful talk. So hope to see you again sometime.
I'm actually in Kolkata in December.
Okay, so great. So yeah, so I think you can again.
There's a big quantum conference in Kolkata somewhere in December. I can't. Organized by Arun Patti. So,
yeah, Arun Patti. Yeah,
so I will be giving a keynote there, and I will be present physically.
Okay, good. So yeah, he's a good friend of mine. So yeah, so I just anyway. So see you in Calcutta hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. So I think now I want to invite Professor Shi, right? And first of all, let me welcome her. Thank you. So I think So, Professor, she is very good. I mean, I have seen her profile when talking to her. So she is working. She is from Taiwan originally, and I think she has done a lot of work on architecture, especially high performance computing, accelerated quantum hardware. Right? So I hope you will enjoy this talk. So, floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm just gonna have fun because I think we're all sleepy, digesting. So I'm just gonna share my journey, how I went through HPC and quantum AI. So hopefully that we can collaborate working on quantum AI. So there'll be a lot of pictures, not very no big text. So this is the title is QAI, Quantum AI, Accelerated HPC. So I'm trying to do a smart optimized HPC workflow. Okay, so I travel many different places, South Africa, Japan, everywhere, and give talk to Warsaw and Bulgaria. So this year I have 8 invitations, so this is the first one. So when I went to South Africa, the national champion of the HPC competition team went to compete last June in Hamburg. And so when they got the national championship, the award is, the prize is to come to Texas and visit me and get training with Dell Computer, Texas Advanced Computing Center. So they came to my school to visit me. We have the most amazing gym in the universe, and so this is the court that you play, all kind of sports. So we have a picture over there. So this was when I was Japan. I was keynote speaking. This was last February last year. Actually, they invited me again this year, but I probably won't. I'm still in Asia. So this was UT Dallas. They trying to have a corridor in quantum, and actually they were the corridor for telecom, and so they want to make it quantum. So last February 23rd, last year, this year is going to be 22nd. So last year was the first time they have a one-day immersion in quantum, and I was a keynote speaker there, and then there's an interview over there in their IQ Innovation Quarter in the city of Rochester. So they request me to talk about the quantum research, the next frontier. So I'm going to start by talking about where we are and how we're going. So there was this paradigm shift. So originally we had experimental, theoretical, computational, data-driven, and quantum AI. So this is what the path we're going. So guess where we are at? Okay. So originally we have a lot of smart people like Einstein and Newton, and they kind of guessed that there will be some kind of a mathematical physics model. But because there was no data to confirm their invention, so we have to have design some experiment to create some data to verify the theory. And then when we finally got computer about 50 years ago, then we're gonna have the computer to do Monte Carlo, and then we'll be able to verify the theory that way. Okay, so theoretical, experimental, computational. Then all of a sudden, every 4 days or more, we're gonna double our data, the internet data and the YouTube data you saw earlier. So we have so much data in the exabyte. so we have now more data than other hypotheses. So we have to do data mining to be able to utilize all this data to discover hypotheses and then try to prove it. So this is from the Tony Hay, the Microsoft research president's lecture, and he talked about, I learned from that, he didn't invent that. So I asked him what will be the next, and he said he doesn't know, but I think we all know it's going to be quantum AI. Okay, so this is a picture of the paradigm shift. So we are going into the quantum AI. So just to philosophically think about it, quantum is very different from the classical computer. Classical computer is kind of like a top-down. We have a king, right? And everybody listen to the king. Then quantum is a little bit more democratic. So it's really grassroots. So you set up the environment and the things naturally happen. So it's a nature computing. So let's come to my life story. So this was my father, my parents, and there was the baby. Guess which one? So what happened was I didn't even know what computer was. Actually, I landed up first year of computer engineering program many years ago. Before I have computer, or anybody has computer. So when I was in this most amazing college in Hsinchu, Taiwan, where all the chips are made, we had the most difficult course in the 4 years of undergraduate computer engineering degree. That course is called discrete math. And because it caught my attention because I was told that was the most difficult class. So I must do well, right? And besides, it's all boys, I'm the girl, so I cannot be like too shabby. So anyway, long story short, I had to prove 5 coloring problem in that assignment. I couldn't turn in the homework because nobody else did. But eventually I did, and I got the grade over there is A++, A triple plus. So that was my assignment. So this is kind of my inflection point of my life over there because that course and the assignment, I aced the course. So my department sent me as the representative of my university to go to a Hunger Game in Taiwan. So IBM Taiwan, okay, they wanna to audition the only position in the computing center. And here I was the winner of the Hunger Game from District 13 for my bookkeeper's daughter, and so I won. And over there I was human tape loading robot. And I hated the job, right? So make sure that I would never take a 9-to-5 job. But the money was good. They paid me like 3 months. Every month's salary was almost like 17 times of a regular scholarship. So after that, I came to the United States. So this is my graduation picture. I don't know if you can see me. I'm the only girl. Yeah. But we have a lot of girls nowadays, so I'm very pleased. So we were in, this is Houston, that's where I met, the Space Center. So I hope you come to see us. So I'm working on workflow optimization to cut down the energy cost for HPC and AI and all those kind of nice things. But now I have some ideas. I think there was previous couple of talks were talking about the interest of AI and quantum. So I had come up with an idea because I happen to be teaching both courses in last summer or regular summer. So I realized that ANN, artificial neural network, is actually the inverse of quantum annealing. So I'm going to utilize this characteristic. I'm going to invent a lot of neat things. Quantum generative AI, quantum, AI accelerated quantum quick probe, and all those nice things. Using quantum to prepare to improve to augment the data or insert error to the data and make the machine learning more robust, and using machine learning to do machine teaching or quantum machine teaching. And that way we can do is to translate the little learning set, like a professor learning a new topic like quantum, and then from that training set we translate to concept, and then the professor will design a bunch of examples, and that's using that constraint to generate populate the quantum annealing sample. All right, so this is coming, but I haven't started doing it, so I welcome collaboration over there. So this is a little bit about me. I'm in quantum annealing, quantum computing. and AI, HPC, FPGA, image processing, cloud, machine learning, big data, complex system, all we call bio-inspired system. So over there you can see some of my journey over there. So this is NASA, this is IBM Quantum, and that was me 2017 Open Up Future Technology Conference with 2 quantum paper. There were only 3, so I had 2 of them. And then this is John Martin. You know who that is? He's the one that about half a year later, he proved the quantum supremacy with the Sigma quantum computer in the Google Quantum. This is IBM Quantum at Rurik, Peter there. When I was giving a talk in Future Technology Conference in Vancouver, luckily there's only 7 miles to D-Wade, so I had the private tour over there. This is the summit I saw in previous, the summit was 2019, fastest computer in the world there. This is my team in CyberShake, where I use my optimization to cut 1/3 of the cost and computation time for the CyberShake project, which is the biggest earthquake seismic computation project. And here are some of my NASA and geophysics and biomedical projects. Okay, so this was my profile, and this is actually my Bulgaria quantum talk. So this is kind of my storyboard. I encourage everybody, especially students, to make your kind of your storyboard, your vision board, vision story. But what I'm trying to do here is actually, we will see a much clearer picture. So in the middle right here, I'm trying to do is have a software, have a hardware co-design, and generate the schedule to actually bind the workers to the task. Here I'm trying to solve some application. The CyberShake is an earthquake map for California. HPCG is integrated. This is the most challenging, benchmark. So for the fastest computer like Frontier and Fugaku, you can only do 3% off. So if you spend $100, you only get $3, or you spend $100 in Frontier, you only get 80 cents. That's the problem of supercomputer nowadays. Okay, so it's very hard to do the HPCG. However, I do have some hope for the NEC vector computer. They can do 5 to 15%. So I developed a method called AT mapping. Basically, I can transfer data from a task to another task in half a hop, either 0 or 1 hop. And I use load imbalance, so I will talk about more details. Here are some of the systems we're looking at. So you have Frontier, Aurora, Delta. These are the HPE systems, and they are basically the Dragonfly topology connected together, and they are AMD or the IBM computer or Cray. And then you have Fugaku, which is very unique. Okay, so this is the Frontier, my trophy picture here. This is Summit. Okay, Summit is factory, I think, and then Frontera is also factory. Blue Waters is 3D torus. Fugaku is a 60 Dofu. What does that mean? It's a 3D topology, 3D mesh or torus, and then with added ring in the middle. So make it 6 coordinates for each processor node, and that makes it a 6D topology. So what I'm trying to do is to optimize the process of assignment to the task and schedule it, and then place the job on the cluster network. Also, this is the picture. This is the Fugaku when I visited. So I was keynote speaker in Osaka. So it's lucky again because they only have an hour to the Rakuten Center to see the Fugaku system. And very nice that they newly formed an HPC quantum group from Tokyo, and they came to visit me. And because the earthquake and tsunami, they have to put the system in the 5th floor, and with the rubber ring and this blue spring here to deflect the the force of the earthquake. So that was me, Fukaku. I had to wear this very special slipper, kind of like in the Taj Mahal, right? Okay, so this is 60 tofu. So you see there's a ring in each of the... Also, what you have to do is remove the latency. So it's very important where your job is placed. So for example, in this example here, you increase the number of processors, and actually you will reduce the runtime. But when you go through like the 16 core in a blade, go to the next blade, it jump up. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have 16 core in the Ranger cluster in Texas Advanced Computer Center. You don't want to go to 2 blade because then the performance will go down. So it's matter where you place your job. In the United States, we have Exceed or Access or TerraGrid, which is a people network. So I'm one of the original campus champion for more than 10 years. So we do training, all different kinds of stuff. The PI is downtown, and also the Carnegie Mellon Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center do the training, and I'm so tiny among the giants that make it happen. I happen to be the nation's first campus champion fellow, and that's why I was able to work with world champion on the earthquake project. This is the CyberShake team, so it's the largest computation, and these are the people who greet me as I was becoming the first fellow. I was basically couldn't do nothing because they are world champion. What can I do to help them? I was trying to assign to help Yao Ming how to play basketball. So I sit there all year, didn't know what to do. But eventually, they ran out of things to do. They did all they could to improve the code. So my team lead said, "Oh, now it's your turn." So I got sent off the bench. So I started to do the topology. And I find a lot of problem with the visualization. There's a lot of fragmentation. So when you try to send your computation to the next neighbor grid, you actually run a long way, many hops. But users don't even know there's a delay. So I can manage to put all the workers together. I was able to improve 35% faster and increase the efficiency. This way I was able to save the electricity for $285,000 if the original price, so $25, 25 cents of the dollar if you're using CPU and GPU. If you only GPU only, you're actually saving 90% of time. So this is what I had fun. I was presenting my results. I had to use a Pinot script and the top topology as well. Okay, so now so this is the earthquake project. So 2017, China has the fastest computer. It's called Sunway. So they use our CyberShake code, which is authored by Ethan, or one of the 3 authors. So these are the Chinese team. So Tsinghua team, actually they used our code and then they got the Golden Bell Prize, which is the Nobel Prize of the supercomputing. Now over here we have a big problem. So we talk about the problem of the HPCG benchmark. Now here is the problem of this very consuming of space. So this Earth simulator in 1998 is taking 4 football fields. Now if we want to improve 1,000 times the performance per we find 4,000 football fields. So here is the NEC. Okay, so again, when I was in Osaka, the NEC team also come with me from Tokyo. And so we visited there. Then they came to my Clear Lake to give some training. And then they invited me in a supercomputing conference in Denver in the Bronx Palace Hotel. So we had some collaboration there. 2022, Frontier became the fastest computer in the world. This is a Turing Award winner, Jack Garrett. This again, this John Tang is an XCPI. This was my boss when I worked with Berkeley Lab. He is the global leader in the Beyond Moore's Law computer architecture group, the computer science department chair at Berkeley Lab. So he was the general chair for IC conference for 2022 and 2023. 2019, before the COVID, he gave a talk about how we deal with the, beyond Moore's law. So he basically said that the only way to do it is we have to design system and material together. We have to design algorithm and system together, and hardware software system together. And these are the quantum people. So this in South Africa, I gave a keynote speech there. And that's in their HPC conference. So this last year and the year before, and hopefully this year, I'll be working with Oak Ridge National Lab. I work with the Quantum Science Center of DOE and Quantum Computing Institute of Oak Ridge National Lab this last summer. And the summer before, I worked with the global leader in workflow leadership. And this again, Downtown and the Pittsburgh Supercomputer Center. I had the privilege to visit the ACOG, which is the Atmosphere Research, and I feel very disappointed. I feel like maybe we can work together to make this world more proactive in the in ecosystem and also health. Most of the money we spend in research and health and environment is to do diagnosis. We collect data and then we realize, oh, we have a disease. Oh, we have pollutions. Why do we spend money? We already know. We just assume we have cancer. We just assume that we have pollution. Let's spend the money buying good food. Let's spend the money planting trees. Don't spend money doing all this diagnosis. 2013, I had the privilege to be in Denver for the RIC to the supercomputer conference. At the same time, I was presenting my result of improving the CyberShape project. So D-Wave was making a presentation. That's why today I was the first person to teach quantum computing in Texas. And then I had the adventure of collaborating with all these top leaders. However, if I wasn't there, then I won't be able to do that. So I'm glad that you are here. So hopefully today that you're going to start doing quantum in heaven. So most of the time we're doing is quantum annealing and optimization, which is already in production right now. But to do quantum gate computing is still some way to go. Maybe 4 years or maybe 20 years. Okay, so in the D-Wave quantum annealing, they already go through many generations. This is the original topology, Chimera topology. Then they went to Pegasus topology, and now next one is Zephyr topology. In the Chimera topology, they have all the way from 512 qubit 10 years ago to about 5,000 qubit, to 2,000 qubit, and each qubit has 6 neighbors. Then when you go to the Pegasus, each neighbor has 15. Each qubit has 15 neighbors. The Zephyr now, each one has 20 neighbors. So you have more, entanglement that you can do. So instead of Moore's law, now we have the Rose's law, and then we have Navin's law, that double exponential. Everything is improving very quickly. Okay, so now every few years, every year you are doubling the qubit. This was 5 years ago. I was talking here in New Delhi. That was me, 5 years younger. Okay, so I create this slide. I think is appropriate. That's the most important. So what do we want quantum? One, the system cost. So the refrigerator, if it's $15 million or $10 million, it only costs about 0.47 cents per second. So the system cost is reasonable. And you can use, as you increase the number of qubits, the refrigerator still work. It will work, give you 10,000 solutions instead of one. And you can kind of group them. And then next one, the energy is in picowatts in the chip, so $0 energy, okay? But the refrigerator is at 15 kilowatt. This is the old data, but it's 15 kilowatt now. And right now it's about 9 square feet for this refrigerator. But because you need 4 people in there, if you don't need 4 people there, you only need 3 square feet, 9 square feet. So you don't need a 4 football field. Also, this is 5 years ago when I went again. Okay, it's very beautiful day. You see that. So this is NASA and D-Wave team visiting. So right now, what I'm trying to do is trying to use the quantum annealing. Imagine each of this is a sub-network job that users submit to supercomputing. So I'm trying to pack all this user job in the compact small shape and then reduce the traffic in the network of the supercomputing nodes. And then to divide up the task graph into multiple users, I'm going to use this bus. Each bus is picking up different tasks. It's kind of like each process is picking up. So divide up the task into. So I'm going to skip this. So right now, this is 3D Sudoku that my student designed using quantum. This is our four-dimensional lab. Yeah, I have to go fast. So I'm going to go to the comparison result. Also, what we did, we compared with the D-Wave methods to partition job of flow graph into multiple workers using the quantum techniques of Berkeley Lab, using the typical Sloan schedule of HPC, and using my method. So you can see for the time, I'm about only 2/3 of the execution time. The speed up is about twice as much efficient, and I removed 2/3 of the hop. Means the network traffic is much more relieved. And then for the user, you pay half the cost for the core hours that you pay the supercomputing center. So the average hops per data communication age is about 1/3. So I try to use because it's almost impossible to compare with so many combinations. So I try to kind of design the most serial computation to the most parallel computation. And here's my result. Among all these examples, only 1% has 2 hops to schedule from one task communication to the other. Okay, all the other 2/3 are 0 hop and 1/3 is 1 hop. So average is 0.31 hops per data communication. Now, typically it's 3 hops to many millions of hops. So I can reduce the time real quickly. So I think that's it. So this is our NASA. And this is my family. This is my kids. And I got them. I'd like to take any questions you might have, and hopefully that we can have fun with quantum.
Any questions?
Anybody has any question on quantum HPC AI? I'll be glad to answer and connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
भैया साइड से भैया थोड़ा साइड से
Thank you, sir. Now the presentation for track 1 will begin.
मैम साइड से, मैम साइड से। भैया इनको साइड से करो थोड़ा। और करो मैम को। भैया थोड़ा साइड से और हो जाओ भैया थोड़ा। भैया थोड़ा और, ग्रुप लंबा है। ठीक है।
इधर आ जाओ आप लोग, थोड़ा साइड से हो।
आ रही है मैम।
बेटा मैम
तो सर को थोड़ा बोलो और पास आए। थोड़ा और पास पास कर लियो।
ले लीजिए।
और उधर पीछे जाइए। अब आया ना फिर हमसे।
हो गया ना, बंद कर दूँगा।
भैया ये स्टैंड में यहीं छोड़ जाओ,
हाँ, छोड़ जाओ।
लाना पड़ेगा।
कोई दिक्कत नहीं, छोड़ जाओ।